look, Jason, this isn't easy and it is a fine balance, right? And it's one of these things that it's not prescriptive. Everybody kind of you have to be able to trust your gut. But the thing that I want to address is the difference between reacting and responding, right? I believe that structure creates success. When you have a responsibility as an adult and you have a commitment, for example, on a call with somebody, and your child is coming up to you, it's a moment for education. It's a moment to pause. It does not mean that you abandon the call. It does not mean you abandon your child. It means that you
building a business that feeds your life, not one that eats away at it. Why do you think so many people get stuck or create something that, I guess, for lack of better words, sucks the life out of them? And how can they change that?
Therapy. No, okay. Yeah, no, but in all seriousness, I think a lot of times, I'm going to talk specifically about the coaching space. Are most of your listeners in the coaching space, Jason?
Wide range.
Okay. So I'll talk about the coaching space a little bit because this has been my experience. I think there's a lot of people that have worked really hard for a long time, right? Whether it's in corporate, earning a living in corporate, suffering in corporate, or even building their own business and, they're just over it, right? Like it's a business that they started for whatever reason, or they fell into it, or family business, and they just dedicated to it. And then they're just burned out, right? And so then instead of addressing the burnout, instead of addressing, hey, I need to rest and rethink and give myself just a period of time, right? This is a culture where we're always moving forward. Rest is not glorified, right? And I think if somebody has built themselves a business and their life is not looking the way that they want it to, and their internal world is a mess, the first thing you need to do is just pause. Just take a pause. Right? And not even to reevaluate, but just give yourself some time away. Because what I know about entrepreneurs is when they have the downtime without anything else around them, that's when the ideas come. That's when the solutions come. And too many times, people can't see the forest through the trees. So that would be my first suggestion, is to just pause, like go on a vacation, or something, kind of take some time away.
Vacation? What's that?
I know, see?
It's like a unicorn that you're talking about here. What? There's a thing called a vacation? Yeah.
There is. Or take a month off. I mean, that's a big ask, right? Because everybody's pushing so hard. But, really asking yourself the foundation of why you are building something. And are you running away from something and running into something because you're just going to build something that's going to burn yourself out? Or is this genuinely something that you're fueled with passion and excitement versus anxiety and fear?
I mean, I think there's a dichotomy in growing a business. One is people underestimate just how hard it is to grow a successful business. Mm-hmm. And then I think people underestimate how easy it can be to grow a successful business because they get in their own way and they make everything harder.
Yep.
Right. So I think, I'm fascinated with, the people saying how hard it is, and then, I've launched successful businesses and, I could definitely work harder than I do. And, I've spent years feeling guilty over it, being like everyone's banging their head against the wall and they're grinding it out. And I'm not. And I think something that used to make its way around the entrepreneurial community, and this for sure, is, and although to be fair, it's less these days than it was a couple of years ago, is the rise and grind, right? Yep. Is the hustle all day mentality.
Yep.
And that's the only way you're going to work. Out hustle everyone. And I agree, hard work and work ethic is super important, and we could all get better at that. But you advocate something differently. You actually advocate that by doing that, it will actually lead to making less money. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because, I mean, especially if it's a single person that's running their business, right? If we look at a pie chart of energy, you have 100% of energy, right? There's a certain percentage of that that's going to go to your personal life, right? There's a certain percentage of that really needs to go to self-care, taking care of yourself, educating yourself, personal development, right? The personal development can even be another aspect of that, right? So, and then your business is another segment of that. And I think here's what I'm saying is, in the segment that you are working on your business, in that piece of the pie, work hard, hustle hard, right? But don't let that piece of the pie expand to 70% of your energy, where you're giving up family, where you're giving up self-care, where you're giving up personal development, all for the sake of the business, because that is the easiest recipe for burnout.
But to an extent, there comes sacrifice, right? And look, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm the guy that will jump off the call if I hear my son crying outside the door when I'm working from home that he needs me, right? It's like, no, I like that goes into it. And I believe that's extremely wrong, right? I'm not going to say that everyone should do it. It is the wrong thing to do because I have a responsibility to grow a business. I have a responsibility to provide for this household, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I have the hardest time, I guess, rectifying doing that, but then missing out on opportunities that I'm not going to have years down the road, to build something for years down the road, my family to have, but miss out on the years with them in order for me to really appreciate it. And while they actually want to hang out with me and be around me versus cool, 16 years later, look what we built. We could go on vacations. I don't even want to go on vacation with you anymore, Dad. Who are you? But I do. So I'd love to know how you coach people through this or how you go through this, because I'm still trying to figure this out, but I do believe that the way I've been handling it is wrong, because I do believe there is some sort of sacrifice you have to make, right? At every growth stage to grow your business comes with a piece of sacrifice. So I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. This is my personal therapy. If the listeners don't get any value from this, at least I will. So let's just go.
Hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Well, look, Jason, this isn't easy, and it is a fine balance, right? And it's one of these things that it's not prescriptive. Everybody kind of you have to be able to trust your gut. But the thing that I want to address is the difference between reacting and responding, right? I believe that structure creates success, right? So if we have, like, I don't have kids yet. I have a dog. So, but I've worked with thousands of kids and thousands of families, and I've seen, things that work and things that don't work. And it is a balance, right? When you have a responsibility as an adult and you have a commitment, for example, on a call with somebody, and your child is coming up to you, I need you. It's a moment for education. It's a moment to pause. It does not mean that you abandon the call. It does not mean you abandon your child. It means that you respond instead of react. And you say, hey, whoever I'm talking to, sorry, just give me 1 second. Let me just address this. And you turn to your child and you say, hey, look, you're going to give me 15 minutes. I'm going to get to you, something like that, which I know doesn't always work, but assuming you have support and somebody else in the household that can help you, which some people don't have the luxury of, right? Yep. So it's really about finding that balance and using those times as education. Where that becomes detrimental, however, is when it's always hold on, right? So that's where I say the structure is what gives you the ability to be proactive about these times, right? And if this is a consistent thing that's happening, you can have, I work with clients that are single mothers, right? And they have their kid on the floor with the iPad or with the game. And like, it just is what it is. And it's messy, right? And they're doing the best they can. And look, sometimes we just have to do the best we can. And you got to trust your gut on that.